Pretty beautiful table here. Take a look at how I build it. I start by giving the customers a quick picture of what the render is going to look like. Then I take the slabs and I start trimming them down, trimming them down, trimming them down. It takes a little bit of negotiating here to get those edges perfectly straight for the pour. Bring it over into the pour room, set it up on the pour table, get the caulking, get the support stone, sure it up on the table, caulk that puppy. Mix a bunch of epoxy here with my brand new mixer. Make sure the color is consistent throughout all of the gallons of epoxy that I end up pouring on the table. Throw it in the vacuum pump. This allows me to make sure that the air within the epoxy that was integrated during the mixing is escaped. It looks like it's boiling, but it's really not. That is just the oxygen and the air coming out. I mixed a second color for this one. You'll see me mix it here. Later on in the video, you're not going to see me integrate it because I ended up having to put it in the middle of the night at 2:30 a.m. Here's me pouring the main epoxy pour. You're going to see what this looks like when it's all said and done, just this round. It's going to have a much lighter color than the final epoxy color on the table because of mixing in that deep blue. Here's the first round of the epoxy that got mixed in. Take a look at that coloring. Still some bubbles, but that'll escape real quick. There's the color with the integrated second. Deep blue, pulling down the router sled again. This takes a little bit. Thankfully, I'm able to store it over that garage door that you see right there. Otherwise, it would just take up too much space. One of my favorite parts here is knocking these blocks off the top of the table. I get to slowly wedge it off the table. It pops right off that HDPV. These fancy new woodpecker clips allow me to secure the slab while I run the router up and down and up and down and up and down. Now this takes a couple of hours to make sure that I get it perfectly flat and ready for sanding. Sometimes the table's a little heavier, I'm just not feeling it, so I rock this ceiling hoist that I've had in my workshop. It allows me to flip the tables and move them without destroying my back. Can be a little bit sketchy sometimes, gets me a little nervous when it slips and things like that. But again, we're trimming up the edges on the table with the Festool track saw. This thing is an absolute beast. Crank it through with my Festool Rotex. I had touched up some of the epoxy on the top to fill some little voids that occurred, which is what you saw in that last clip. Now I'm just sanding down the table. Crank it through it. This takes another couple of hours. And then I grab some mineral spirits and water pop the surface. This allows the Rubio monocoat to penetrate really, really well and gives a beautiful, natural feeling finish while supplying a significant amount of protection. Here we go, mixing the accelerator in. This is quite the product. One of my absolute favorites. Flipping it again, this time without the hoist, just because after it was planed down, it wasn't too bad. Now we go back and forth, putting this Rubio monocoat with a little spatula, a little trowel, just a plastic edge. Go back and forth, kind of 90 degrees, 3 different times to make sure it soaks in. Lightly wipe it off, and then I come back with the buffer. Take a look. Now we've got this final flyover of this table. This happened to be a coffee table, so it was really low on the ground. But here, take a look. We are just flying over. Look at that coloring. Love that inclusion for where that bark used to be that we cleared out. And this two-tone finish, absolutely beautiful. Coming down the center canyon here, the two-tone blue and deep blue. The final results of this table are absolutely stunning, and I'm really thankful to be able to get to build it.